Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derbies and the 2016 Bash for Cash. Demo Derby Masters. Winter Slam 2016. Ultimate Derby and Blizzard Bash and Capital City Carnage. Syopa Racing and SyopaRacing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, episode number 161 on deck this evening. We've got Jason Sherman joining us here in studio. Brian Tompkins also joining us, and on the hotline right now we've also got the one and only Dave Diver from Big Rock Derby Products. Dave, man, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How's Christmas?
Oh, it was good. It was fun watching the kids open all the stuff for the first time. You know, they're old enough to actually get Christmas now.
Right.
How was your guys' Christmas?
It was good. It was real good. How about you guys here in the studio?
Very good. Very good.
Good.
So did you open up anything that was Derby related? You any closer to getting back into Derby cars and running regular, just like all the other lunatics around the country?
No, it's kind of hard to open stuff when you build everything. So if you're going to open it, you might as well wrap it yourself.
True, very true. I know one of the conversations that we had as we kicked off our holiday break last week, getting closer to having this week off here between Christmas and New Year's, was the Dana 60 rear end that you guys have been poking away at, and I guess that Dana 60 is just about ready to be released, and everything's passing the tests.
Oh yeah. We came up with a new Dana that is not so expensive to where you can't afford it. A full blown out Dana 60 is $4,500 compared to $6,000, and it has a lot more features than what's out there now.
So, in terms of you allude to those features. What's the key? Usually we hear the conversations about the Corporate 14 or the conversations about the Ford 9-inch and the Dana 60 or the primary ones that the Dana rear ends anyway. What's special about the 60 combination versus some of the other stuff that we hear about in the general Derby conversations?
Well, I mean, first off, the axles we're putting in there, they're like oak trees. They're big as round as oak trees. We're taking the original axle tubes out of the housing and replacing them with 3/8 chromoly seamless tubing. Not a lot of rear end builders can do that. It takes a lot of time. And, you got to know what you're doing to do that.
Is that the same stuff that you make the stacks out of?
No, not quite.
Pretty close. No, the way the bracing is, it's bracing every inch of that housing there is. And the biggest thing is the price. I mean, you could almost buy extreme cradle and a rear end for the price of what some of the rear ends cost these days.
I guess the biggest thing that you're looking at then in terms of this Dana 60 is, and Brian, I know, why don't, Brian, you take it then, because we're all thinking the same question.
Now, Dave, isn't Dana kind of famous for being, associated with Mopars? To step up and work on something that comes from the Mopar days. It's got to be kind of like an accomplishment for you, isn't it, bud?
Yeah, it's definitely an accomplishment. Hey, like I said, we're stepping up. We're actually we're making some Mopar stuff now.
Really?
We're making headers.
Really?
So you'll be receiving a set of headers hand delivered to you at the bash.
Nice, good to hear. I like to hear that. If you want, just throw them in one of those Cadillacs. You can hand deliver that too, and we'll call it even. We're all good there, bud.
Those Cadillacs are in a well place right now.
As long as they're inside and keeping warm.
That's right. They're inside. They're shipped out, and the bodies are getting ready to come off of them as we speak.
Nice. Good to hear. Good to hear.
Are those the ones that you told me that were being cryogenically frozen?
Yes.
Okay.
And then they'll be heat treated after that.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Absolutely. Go both ways, and then it's even tougher.
Right. Anyway, so so we've got the header program well on its feet, the rear ends. In terms of the early feedback, what have you been hearing on those?
I can't hear you. What did you say?
In terms of the early feedback on those rear ends, what have you been hearing?
Oh, well, we actually got 2 built right now. They're heading to North Dakota. 2 brothers bought them. We have hundreds of rear ends out there. I mean, this isn't the first rear ends we built. You know, we built a lot of GM 10 bolts, a lot of Ford 9 inches, and we have hundreds of rear ends out there. This is just something that is way to look at it. You're going to say, "Holy crap, is that thing strong?" And like I said, the way we have it braced and everything, there's no way you can bend it, break it, anything. It comes with leaf conversions that you can run leaf springs or in a coil spring car. The actual spring pockets themselves are all handmade, so it's not stock. There's a 1/4-inch plate that's bent all the way around the spring pocket. There's a piece of solid stock that we put in there that is threaded down for your all thread for your shocks. It has a pinion brake, which we get from Brian Murat, and it's all 3/8 square tubing for the bracing all the way up. 3/8 chromoly seamless tubing for the axle housings. Has axle savers, 40 spline, Moser axles, any gear you want, any spool you want. It's just a bad mofo.
What kind of, granted that you've had all the other rear ends out there and you've got the experience, but obviously the industry has changed a lot in the last couple of years with the advent of the braced rear end coming out as a complete piece that you can buy aftermarket. How much R&D went into putting this unit together, finding the right gearing combinations, finding the right axle combinations and things along those lines before you were ready to actually sell this off and now the first ones are on their way to Minnesota? Did you invest a lot of time, or did you have enough confidence and knowledge in the background of it to where it was one of those things that it was a pretty lights out decision and there wasn't a lot of analysis that really had to go into it?
Well, there's not a lot of analysis that got to go into it because people have been running a Dana 60 forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just that the way we brace it up, it's totally different than everybody else's. The axle savers we actually make ourselves. The pinion brake, like I said, comes from Brian Murat.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a lot of thinking in as what combination of axles and stuff to do. The best gear, in my opinion, is a 513 gear for any track. But anybody can say, "Hey, I want 600 gear." Well, we'll put it in there for you.
For an automatic, yeah. Not so good for a 3-speed or 5-speed.
No, that wouldn't be good.
But so 513 is pretty much where it's at, no matter what. That's the go-to gear combination.
In my opinion, it is. I mean, I ran 456, 458, or 488s, 513s, 556s. I ran 630s. I ran them all, you know. And it seems no matter if it's a muddy track or a dry track, a 513 is all the best round gear that you can buy, in my opinion.
That's, of course, with a GM motor powering the rear end, right?
What's that?
That's, of course, with a GM motor powering the rear end.
Yeah, I mean, you might want to step it up to like a 900 if you've got a Mopar motor or something in it.
Well, there you go. Hey, he's learning. He's learning slow, but he's learning. The Mopars have a better head assembly, so they can take the higher RPMs in the Chevys. It's all good.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
Higher torque.
Well, we'll let Brian and that believe that. That's okay.
So, where are these cars going to run the first time? Where are we're going to be able to track those down? Have those good fellas told you?
I think the first where these guys are going is Capital Carnage.
Nice.
I believe is where they said they were going. And then they're out of North Dakota, so I don't really know where they run all the time.
Yep.
But they bought 2 of them identical, and they we put it on Facebook, and within 48 hours, it had 11,000 views on it.
Mm-hmm. Wow!
So,
Wow.
The rear end itself, is it bordering on one of those lifetime buys that you can justify the investment because you can, I mean, like you said, you can get the extreme and the rear end for the same value as some standalone rear ends. Is it one of those things that you're believing that you've said yourself now with the bracing and the geometry of that rear end that it isn't going to go anywhere and you'll be able to multi-purpose it going with leaf spring conversions or regular coil springs? Is it a lifetime buy? Obviously, the internals are going to wear, and those are something that you have to track, and anything can happen along those lines. But at the end of the day, this is the last rear end you have to buy?
Yeah, the housing and stuff, it'll be the last housing you'll ever have to have. Unless, you get run over by a bulldozer. But, the main thing that's going to wear out are, the bearings in the inside, maybe a gear, or the brake pads. The brake pads are what you're going to have to change most likely more than anything. You're never going to have to worry about this housing that we came out with, because like I said, it braces every inch. It's just not a box around the housing. It's actually bracing the rear end.
Now, is this with a stock Dana 60 gear set fit right in it, or is it modified?
What's that?
The stock Dana gear set, does that fit in that, or is that modified now?
No, it would fit in there if you wanted it. I don't know exactly how much play you would have with the big Mosier axles or not, but if you wanted to change back to the stock axles, for sure it would fit.
I mean, what are you thinking along those lines, Jake? I mean, the wheels
Dana,
are turning. I see them over there. They're turning. You're asking
well,
questions.
Dana 60s, I mean, they're pretty plentiful.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a pretty good following for aftermarket parts, as much as gear sets and that kind of stuff. So, if you wanted to have 2 or 3 different sets of gears, depending on the track you're going to, or the amount of mud or your tire size or something like that, if you're going to modify anything like that.
With all these rear ends, front to back, and we've seen people do this in the pits for forever, regardless of the type of motorsport that we've been in, Brian, and changing gears in the pits, it's not that big of a deal. With all this cladding stuff that's built up around those rear ends, I'm wondering how easy it is to do it, because you see the center section is got a cover on it. You can still get to it, but how do you get everything out of there and make sure that it's fitting all the right way? But people do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing is the first year we went to Winterslund, we talked about it. With the frozen track up there, I said I'd put highway gears in it, and take your 488s and put road gear in it, and then run it. But I mean, definitely. I mean, that's where you're getting to. Is I mean, you're going to see guys have different gear setups for different tracks and different stuff like that. But I mean, if you're spending the money and you're going to compete, you're going to do stuff like that. I mean, it's part of the game. It's part of the big game. I mean, if you're gonna if you're gonna run these these big shows, you're gonna have to do it. I mean, that's just
how many gear sets do you have?
Me personally, one.
Because that's all you ever need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I asked Rick Englehart and I were talking because I was thinking about getting 456s, and he said 430 is all I run. And I said, if that's all you run, Rick, I don't need any more than that, because I'll never run as hard as Rick Englehart. So that's it.
I had Rick put me together 8 3/4. I think when the last rear ends I bought off him, that was with a 456s, and I really enjoyed that.
Yep.
But I just know, like, when you start getting into some of the hybrid stuff, or you start building stuff together, you have to have stuff machined down as far as carriers and that kind of stuff. So I didn't know if that was the case, if you had to buy special parts to go with your special rear or not, or if it was off-the-shelf parts in case you broke something.
Well, did you give that any thought in terms of the diversity? If you went with off-the-shelf parts, Dave, when you're putting this thing together, now it gives guys that are buying it the chance where if they did want to run a different gear combination, they don't have to buy anything specific or special, or with customizing of the build process, so to say. They can just go to whatever their preferred parts distributor is and get the gears that they want.
Yeah, no, you can order them from Jed's or Summit. You can order any gear you want, take it out, put it together, slap it back in there, and there you go. You're ready to go.
How's Brian these days? You said that the pinion break was coming from Brian Nearett. I know this is a time of year where he gets awful busy.
Yeah, we like I said, we do a lot with Brian. Brian's a great guy. He offers a lot of parts and stuff, you know. So the stuff that we can buy from him to build our rear ends that helps us, like the pinion brake, we buy the brass bushings off of him. We buy all that stuff from Brian. So if anybody ever needed any of that, they can call Brian straightforward, and they can order it right then and there instead of going through me. You know, I have the stuff in stock also, but if I was out, you can call Brian and he would have it right then and there.
That's pretty handy.
Oh yeah, that comes in handy. Definitely.
And I know I bought a lot of stuff off Brian's for the years. It doesn't take long to get stuff.
No, get stuff right now.
You can get it right to you.
I'm liking the prospect. I'm anxious to see what those cars do. You know,
Yeah.
we're going to see them.
Oh, yeah.
Capital City Carnage is right around the corner.
And that's the thing is, if you're going to get a couple of these rear ends put through their test, I mean, have guys from North Dakota drive them because they're usually pretty hard on stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we saw
right
those
on
North
the gas.
Dakota guys in the limited weld team bracket. Zach Ponzer,
Yeah.
the Rohrbachs. They drive hard.
Yeah, they do. All of them
they
do.
drive very.
Well, Yanni, all those guys they're all from North Dakota.
Dookie,
they all drive hard. So it's definitely they'll definitely get their put through their paces, which is what you want. So I mean, it'd be interesting to look at them. We're gonna have to find those guys out there and check them out because that'll be our first time to be able to see them.
I just got a message from
They'll be out there. I think they're both running. One's running a Cadillac, and I think the other one is running a wagon, I believe.
Nice.
But like I said, we have hundreds of rear ends. I know Ziopa's, Mark and Steve, they both have our rear ends. Mark's still running our rear end 99% of the time, so is Steve, in his like limited weld cars that he don't have the other rear end in that. So the rear ends that we have out there have been out there since we started building Derby stuff. And they held up through the test. This one is definitely going to hold up through the test. And like I said, it's a one-time investment that you'll have to buy one time unless you get hit with a bulldozer.
And I was talking with Dave. The original engine cradle still out there being used, right?
Yeah, actually, I was just talking to the guy today who was over my house, and he says, I still have your quarter-inch cradle that I'm putting in your car right now.
First one.
For a team show in July. And I just laughed at him, and I said, "You've been running that thing since we started?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "The ears are bent a little bit, and I just bent them back with a hammer." And I had a half-inch brand new cradle in there. I said, "Here, I should take this one and put it on your motor, so it actually, you got a new product on your car from this." You're going to put that in his car tonight," he said.
That's cool.
When was the last time that happened to you, Brian? Walked into a shop and said, "Yeah, I've been running the same piece forever, and I had to bend it back with a hammer. Here's a new, bigger piece."
Well, I mean, I'm not Josh Checker. That stuff doesn't happen to me.
It doesn't happen to you.
It doesn't happen often, but it's all good. I appreciate it when it does.
Brian sweeps the floor at Napa to get used oil. That's how tight his Derby budget is.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the budget-wise, I mean, you got to swapping over to like the corporate and the Dana and stuff. There's definitely a value there because other rears have been, as we talked about earlier, getting out of control as far as price-wise. Probably any show that you're going to take a piece like this and run at, you're probably going to have a promoter and a tech crew that's going to expect stuff like that. But a lot of the smaller shows, when they're still stuck on the 5-lug axles, and it doesn't matter if you have an XYZ rear end that's completely fabbed, it's just got to have 5-bolt axles, but they won't let you take a stock 8-lug. Yeah, it doesn't really compute. I mean, have you guys run into that problem with just saying, people, oh no, it can only be a 5-lug. It can have 40 spline Moser hobbies in it, but it can't be an 8-lug rear.
We've bounced into a little bit of that. We had some of that came up in conversations we were talking with the guys down in Virginia, is where it's what Jake and I were talking before the show about. Actually, we're going to see Sean Okenauer this weekend. Sean's coming up.
Oh, is he?
His Eve party. Yeah,
Nice.
he's bringing Kimmy.
Nice.
And we were
Very
talking
cool.
about his Frankenwagon that's got the Imperial sub and the rear end that's in it, and then the fact that he's got the straight axle in the front with the leaf springs underneath it, and how insane this is, and how those guys down there don't buy rear ends necessarily because they don't have to. They're able to run those full floaters that they can find out of ambulances and trucks and stuff like that.
Say one on a local rig and put it in there.
Yeah. Just take one out of There's a Kenworth in the scrapyard. Just go use that. And they run those, and then they build the bracing up on their own. Mm-hmm. So you've got that long axle end from the floater end that's sticking out past the wheel, but they don't have to. And it's such a different world down there because so many of those guys, Mark Wolf is a great example. I mean, we could go on the Pattons. They just got the roof signs. Those guys, they're the same way. They build so much of their own stuff. Just I don't know if it's economics, if it's necessity or what, but that, as long as it's got the right number of lug nuts on it, no one cares.
Yeah.
Which is a weird additional twist on it, because if you don't care if it's a built rear end or if it's a 3/4 down there, why are we counting to 5 versus 8? So it's one of those weird things that he's got to live with. But then again, he's also straight axling cars.
Well, it was funny when we went down and I bought a car from Jeremy Gully, and we picked it up at Pete Hansen's. He stored it up behind Pete's scrapyard, and Dan O'Connell towed it back for me. So we're down there, and Pete was plowing some snow so we could get into where we were going. We're standing there, and there's like the center section out of a tractor trailer. Dan's like, "Is that Pete's spare rear end?" And I was like, "It very well could be," but it was just funny.
No guarantee that it isn't.
No. His Pete's stuff was down in the garage below the house. But yeah, it was cool.
Well, Dave, I know you got a bowl tonight. You got what time you start?
I'm going to start practice here in about 10 minutes.
Well, I know you got to get out there and get that taken care of. Appreciate you making time to come and hang out with us on the show for a little while. What's the best way for folks to get a hold of you if they're interested in some more information on these?
They can just call us. They can Facebook me at Big Rock. They can email me. However they want to do it. I respond to my Facebook messages faster than anything usually. Or if they want to call, I'll answer. As long as I'm up and I hear my phone, I'll answer.
Perfect. Well, if you want to check it out, you can find a Big Rock Dana 60 rear end for with an extreme cradle, about the same price as any of the other competitive rear ends out there. So it's certainly something that you could put your ear to the track and see if it's worth looking into. The products that we've seen otherwise, between the stacks and the cradles and the tranny protectors, the pedal combinations, you name it, they've been home runs every other time we've seen them.
Absolutely.
So I don't expect anything less, and I'm dying to see what the difference is in the geometry and the protective nature of how everything being braced, and it's always going to be fun to see axle tubes that are made out of that material. Just to say you did. But Dave, man, good luck with bowling. Have a great New Year. I appreciate the support.
You guys have a happy New Year and stuff, and I'm sure we'll see you at the Derby here real soon.
We'll see you before too long. Thanks, man.
Dave.
All right, take care.
We'll see you later. There goes Dave with Big Rock, working together with Brian Neer to get some yokes on the front of those rear ends. Brian, who I'm sure right now is busy talking to any number of lathes that he has in that sprawling near it demo fabrication shop. But I'm anxious to see what.
Yeah.
We talk about. He kept saying that he's got all these rear ends out there. I mean, I know that he's got rear ends out there, but he kept saying this one's different. But it's the same. So what's the difference? And we couldn't quite get there. It's just in the bracketing. It's just how it's braced.
Bracketing in the axle tubes themselves. I mean, that's
pretty serious.
That's pretty impressive.
Tubes,
get them laid out and put in, and that was one of the weaknesses they had, is get the bracing on them, especially the 14s and stuff with the cast.
Yep. Yeah.
We're going to see him in action here real soon, coming up right around the corner. I had to talk with Sam Williams today about this particular event, Ultimate Derby, Capital City Carnage, coming up on the 17th and 18th of March 2016. $10,000 to win limited world class, $60,000 total payout, $9,000 for second, $6,000 for fifth, $1,000 for 10th. You can see the payout. It's all right there. $5,000 Mad Dog Award. How can you beat it? $200 to enter the limited world class. 100 car limit.
Who won the Mad Dog last year? I was trying to think of that.
At
Capital City
Carnage.
Do you remember?
I do. It was the teal and white 75 Impala. Smith or Schmidt, something like that.
I couldn't remember.
It was like an aquamarine and white.
I couldn't remember because there were some cars getting after it, and we were talking.
He was going wide open.
But he still finished decent too.
Yeah, he was like 6th, 7th.
Yeah,
Matt. There was a couple Matts in the feature, and Tanner Schmidt is a name that's popping in my head, and I know it's not him. Somebody's going to tell me on Facebook. I'm going to pull up that Facebook. Somebody will tell us here. Dustin Anderson was tuning in just a few minutes ago. I'm sure he'll weigh in quickly. But it's going to be awesome. And there's only a handful of spots left. It's just about full. So if you're thinking about it, stop thinking about it and do it. And that event is going to include the extreme class, which is where the steering wheel is on one side and the pedals are on the other. And Josh and Ben are going to be driving in that, and that's for the birds.
I think Ben is going to be frustrated because
Josh isn't a driver.
Well, that too, but we saw it when Josh ran in the wire class at Blizzard Bash. They said go, and 8 cars were on him like this, and he couldn't move.
They're not going to get any room to work with.
No, and I think Ben could blow a motor or a transmission because he's good at getting frustrated. But it's it's going to be a good time. They're going to have a lot of fun, but. I
can definitely see Ben flooring it and then having Decker steer out of it or something.
Remember when you were a kid?
Nope.
Remember when you were a kid, you learned how to drive, and you're about to make a terrible mistake, but you don't know it because you're new to driving, and your parent has to lean across and grab the steering wheel and get you out of the neighbor's yard. It's going to happen to Josh a lot. And Ben is probably going to disguise it as grabbing the steering wheel, but he's going to reach over and punch him in the mouth like 5 times.
It's going to be fun. I'm definitely looking forward to that heat.
It's going to be a good one. I lost. There it is. Just to wrap it up. Candace at Ultimate Derby. You can get a hold of Candace Joe there. Ultimate Derby, ultimatederby.com. Jump online. If you search it, it's all over the internet. CapitalCityCarnage.com. There's Facebook pages dedicated to it. Approved vendor list for Smash It Demolition Derbies. Bash for Cash is set for Memorial Day weekend, May 26th through the 28th. You can find more info SmashItDerby.com. They've got a couple raffle cars this year. We got to get with them and find out some of the new stuff that they've released. There's discussion that the 80s class is going to be transitioning to heats.
I think I saw where they're going to keep it as...
They're going to leave it as is.
As is.
Probably a good move because we've already got people that have begun building, et cetera. But
I think the way they were talking is they're going to maybe have a drivers meeting this year, or class meeting or something.
I believe it.
And then it'd possibly advance it from there because they have a lot of support in that class.
Gobs.
They're the 2 heats they ran last year were 2 of the best heats out there. I mean, those guys were getting after it and putting on. Well, I think guys from New York took home all the money in that, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Because I think
a lot of it.
Butch Cisco got Mad Dog in one, which was won by
one of the Kings, right?
No, Gaskin. Didn't Gaskin won that, and then I think Jimmy Biggs got Mad Dog in the other one, and I thought somebody from New York won that one. I thought
one of the Kings got it.
Yeah, from
Evan or Dave King
up near Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that 80s class was a New York sweep last year.
Yeah, and then Serena Brandt was right in there. She's from Pennsylvania. Pat Osmond finished top 3. Alan McNeil was in there. He got to run that. He would have got to run the Diplomat again. But it didn't pan out as well for Alan. But sure enough, it was a lot of top finishers.
So it almost sounds like that might be another standalone heats and feature for those guys eventually. Is the way I was kind of reading it on Facebook.
They were talking about implementing it this year. I mean, if you read between the lines, this meeting is going to tell them that in 2018 it's going to be most likely. I don't know when they're going to schedule them because in
their spare time.
There's
a lot of extra time.
If you get good generators, you can run lights and everything all night long. Just don't even bother going to bed. Or what the heck, stretch it out to 7 days. What's a couple days?
Well, I think if they started derbying on Thursday instead of Friday. I think you could shorten the days. Mm-hmm. So they'd start inspection on Wednesday, start derby on Thursday. Mm-hmm. You'd shorten it. We'd be out of there by like 6 o'clock Saturday or Sunday night. You and I'd be home by midnight.
I know.
2 o'clock in the morning.
That'd be great.
As opposed to 6 or 6:30.
But we still have a good time.
Oh, absolutely. I'm still waiting for the combines. I really think
just stop.
I really think they should bring combines to Bash for Cash.
Stop with that. Just stop with that.
Combines.
No one's listening to you talk right now. Napa Auto Parts Winter Slam. Just listen to me. Ignore him. 2,000 to win out there. World class stock. 80s 1,000 to win. Trucks 1,000 to win. Compacts 1,000 to win. February the 11th, 2017 in St. Peter, Minnesota. Build questions, shoot those to Randy Maslowski, 507-327-1944. Grounds and vendor information, Jeremy Ertman. He's in charge of those. 507-525-4290. Hardest hitter in each class gets $300 and a trophy, the longest tow award. That's $100. Second longest at 75. Best paint. You're into that for $100, and that is event wide, not Division 2 division. Looking forward to that one. Winter Slam 2017. We saw Brandon Johnson win that one last year in a shootout with Mitch Carlson. Looking forward to another good one. Stacey Flynn winning the wire class. It was a heck of a showdown. I don't think we're going to see Randy until we get out there to Minnesota. He's not going to be able to make it out for New Year's this year, but nonetheless, looking forward to seeing those guys and taking that show in. I remember the first time we were there, and that conversation that you alluded to a little earlier, Brian, with the frozen surface and everything, and there was one dude that went through and put on the snow tires, and it was Kenny Rosno.
Yeah.
It was when he had the black and yellow car, and God, that was fun. That was the year Zacharias.
Yeah, Zacharias. He had pretty good hookup too, because he was chunking the whole.
He drove wide open for 45 minutes in the Thunderbird, and the front end never moved. Never even thought about moving. It was.
And then
that was one of the craziest drives I think we've ever seen, because
and
he
that was the only we haven't seen him drive since. Oh yes, you did.
Yeah,
you did it.
Wadena at the Grand Slam team show
that year or the next year.
It was 2014.
Yeah, so and then he's taken some time off, I believe, since then.
CJ. I saw a video that CJ had posted, but I don't know how old it was, and they were goofing around. But yeah, it's a skilled Derby family, that's for sure.
No doubt.
Good group of guys. And then May Mania coming up on the 13th of May. We're going to be out there. So is Dano. I guess Dano's going out a couple days ahead of time. Now that we had him on the show, and had a chance to talk with Paul Cox. Paul Cox is considering maybe putting another show on his schedule. We'll be able to talk to a little bit more detail on that one. I'm hoping that comes together, because there's some folks a little bit north of where he lives that would be thrilled to find out that's happening. So that would be really cool. We'll have some conversations about that again once we get past the new year. May Mania again. Jump online, SternDirtRacing.com. You can talk to Johnny Gullo there. You can find them on Facebook. That again, May the 13th at the Golden Spike Arena. It's going to be an awesome one.
Did you see Johnny Gullo is running the team show in Florida in February?
Yeah,
there's with
his teammate Troy Tagg.
They're gonna have to drive a little ways to get there, but why not, right?
That's crazy.
Wow,
that is crazy.
That's February the 19th, right?
I haven't. Me personally, I have not seen the date yet for that set in stone. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people talking about it, but I haven't seen the date set in stone.
I don't for sure remember now. Let's see. I just got word that the Motorama show is moving forward, full steam ahead. For that, a little hiccup in the plans last week that made things very, very interesting. But it sounds like everything is settled down. It's going to work out just fine. So Motorama still going to happen. Finger Lakes Speed World. I don't know why I defaulted to that. Finger Lakes Speed World at the Finger Lakes Mall in Auburn is going to be rolling off on March 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I understand that there's potentially going to be a late 60s Suicide Lincoln part of that show if it gets stripped out and they can Band-Aid a couple stacks on it. Zach Herman's bringing some Derby cars over. Jamie Brown's bringing some Derby cars. Zach's got a Crown Vic with a broken motor mount, so the motor sits in it like this. The stacks are leaned over. They're going to jam some plastic underneath it so it doesn't leak all over. Brian could dust off any one of the cars that he still has in his front yard. If he can get them out of
that's the other thing, your dad's garage. Hopefully the price of scrap's going up. It's up to $125 a ton now for cars. So
it just leveled off and dropped this week a little bit.
Oh, I was there last week and they said it was at $125.
Yeah. It always bumps up right before Christmas. Everybody.
I talked to Pete and
get a little bit Christmas cash, and then it usually.
Pete said next month it should be going up again. So if it gets to 200, I'm selling everything I got.
Selling out,
except the fresh one.
Scrapping out your Coronet.
The two caddies and the truck are gone.
What truck do you have left over?
The blue one I used to drive on the road.
Oh, okay.
I got to get the Magnum out of that, and then that'll go on the road.
What went wrong on that? Just done with it?
No, the frame went bad in it.
Oh,
rotted out.
That's rather crucial part.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I wish I can't save anything. Yeah. Once I derby it, it's got to be crushed like within a week, or I'm already
start getting the knocks on the door.
I just got a notice 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
we got a notice about moving some cars around, so we got to move it around and at different places, and then they're giving me letters for there too. So
perfect.
The funny thing is like where we live in the town where I have lived my whole life, is supposedly there's always been a law about how many non-licensed vehicles you could have. And I can remember having like 4 or 5 cars on my parents. No one ever said anything. So it's I guess I've kind of taken that for granted. But
Yeah, but your dad used to be one of the main stops for Junior Johnson and AJ Foyt.
absolutely.
Right? So
Mario Andretti too. Don't forget him. But now, thankfully, we cleaned out one end of the garage, so the cars and the truck are all in. But I did, like I said, we brought the Coronet home, and that's sitting up on the cement pad waiting. So get some rolls, and we'll get building.
There you go. I'm not allowed any. None. Zero. Matter of fact, when I bought my Charger in 06, in 07, it had less than 20,000 miles on it, and inspection ran out, and I got a junk car notice for it.
That's crazy.
that's the one you crushed, right?
Yeah. That's so I got it.
Gully has a
brand new car.
Gully has a rough time with where he lives.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And Jeremy lives in God's country.
Yeah.
I
can get it where I live. I can get it a little bit, but
when he told me the stuff he goes through at his place, that is
he got hit though. I turned mine into a 5-day trial, literally 5 days. They did get me for a couple hundred, but he got hit for a pretty good chunk of change.
Yeah,
the last time he got hit, so.
And he is in, like I said, God's country. I don't even understand that. That's crazy, but
Middle of nowhere, huh?
Yeah.
Literally. But
So I don't know if did we hit on this stuff yet or not?
Crash Rush New Year's Eve?
Yeah, did we do that yet?
No, go ahead.
Sold out today. Sold out. Nothing left. If you were waiting on the fence,
Too late.
That's all you got to do is wait. That's it. Nothing going to be sold at the door. So the last 2 tickets today, which was cool because we had to turn in our head counts, and room reservations are being logged as we speak. I'm looking forward to it. That's one of the things that Jake was here to talk about. He's got you said this was the cleanest Lumina that you've ever seen, right? Isn't that what you were saying?
I don't think I said that,
Oh,
but it's
oh.
clean. It's clean.
Jake corralled that blue Lumina that's going to be given away as one of the door prizes. We've got Aaron Bunce raffling off the 1975 Chrysler, which if Brian gets that, then he's probably going to have to sell the Coronet because he can only have one nice thing at a time. And then we've got the Crown Vic that Jeremy Gully's offering as a door prize. We've got
Dodge truck.
The Dodge truck that's being
with the
offered
stuff to swap it over.
I got the pictures. This stuff's beautiful.
Yeah, he sent me the picture of the intake, and I said,
Yeah.
I could really use that. And he said, win the truck and you can have it. So
Yep. And
I'm holding out for the cradle.
that's where you're
it.
spending all your money?
That's it. I'm holding out for the cradle.
Good for you.
The Bolton from Doug Medlin's being raffled off, and I just got a picture of it's a size small helmet from Ron McClung.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be on the door prize table,
Cool.
and it's a brand new helmet.
Size small. I don't think that can work for
It's not
you.
going to fit on this Naga.
Well, but I mean, think about the number of parents that are there.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
have
yeah.
kids that are looking to break in, and now you, instead of having them wear your helmet and it's not fitting right and sliding around all over the place, a brand new helmet, you can't go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
No, absolutely
You
not.
could probably even get Ben Haas to autograph it.
Or Josh Tucker.
Well,
Why would anybody
yeah.
want that?
Well, my daughter ran the youth show this year down in Hartford.
I believe won the year's
She-
show.
oh, yeah, she won.
And
Yeah.
she was in the running for heavy hitter
Yeah.
and had no steering.
Yeah. she did
But
good.
anyways,
She
I
did
remember more detail than Dad does. Go on.
good. Well, we ran into that.
He
that
was
issue.
concussed. He had no idea what was happening.
I think it was the night before. There's nothing close by us, where I live. So my wife had to drive 45 miles to get a helmet like the night before because none of my helmets would fit her. So that'd work out pretty handy. I got a son that keeps asking me about getting into it, and
Why not? Can't go wrong.
well-fitting helmet's important. So
Oh, yeah.
Especially on
Make him
road
in
guys.
handy.
you remember the Palmers, Michelle Palmer?
Mm-mm.
This is back down in my area. I showed up one year at a derby just to watch, and it was one of those shows where they had a derby in the morning
Mhm.
or the early afternoon and a derby in the evening.
Yep.
Guy went out, got hung up. I'm sitting there, of course you get a couple pops in you, and so I went out in the pits and I bought his car. I said, I'm going to run it in the afternoon show. Well, I didn't have a helmet. So Michelle Palmer was there, and she's like, well, she can just use mine. Okay, great. I didn't think anything about it until I went to go put it on right before.
Getting about here?
And it went on right about here. And I was looking out the nose hole in the helmet, and just had it set on my head and went out there and ran. But a well-fitting helmet's important.
Yeah, they come in handy. Chris's helmet fit him well when he was in Gully's truck.
Fit fine.
How'd the seatbelt fit, though?
Seatbelt wasn't bad as long as the seat was all the way forward.
What
It was all the way
happened?
back. It got loose. And Ben's not joking. He kept saying that I was cowering down in the seat. I was. I was trying to get it down low enough so that my head, when we would go backwards, would catch the headrest. so that my head wasn't snapping back. Because when the back of your head touches the bed of a truck through a window, that slinky effect makes your whole body go to sleep right now. Like Jason Dials.
Yeah.
Jason Dials got slinkied. I mean, and he tried. His hands were on the steering wheel, and his arms were still where in the position of holding the steering wheel when he got hit by Colton Newhoff. And the picture that you sent me with the back wheels of Colton's Cadillac off the ground.
Yeah.
His hands look like they're still holding the steering wheel, but it looks almost like he's giving the stacks a bear hug, and his forehead is mashed against where the windshield seal is in his wagon, and his whole body is just contorted like.
And Jason's not a small guy.
No,
Jason's a pretty big dude,
and he's been through a lot of car accidents.
He's been through a lot of derbies.
A lot of them, and that was a Blizzard Bash this year in that team show, Team Extreme with Colton Newhoff, and made it to the national bracket and drew Team Pink in that round, and that shot was unreal. I haven't seen Jason get bounced around. He was fine, thankfully. He whacked his knee pretty good, but he was all right. I mean, it wasn't like some of the other folks we've seen this year. We saw a lot of broken bones this year.
How did Malemic out? He got rocked pretty good.
I
talked to him the next day, but I didn't get any.
I saw on Facebook that he actually went to a neurologist and everything came back okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then I just seen pictures of him out fishing on the ocean. So I assume.
Did you see that weird red frog fish thing?
Yeah,
that was a messed up looking.
Yeah, there's nothing like that around here, man.
No.
We need the good, wholesome, stuff out of Seneca Lake.
Yeah,
them ocean fish are scary looking beasts.
Yeah, and that was just a quick trip. That was nothing. He's taking off here before too long to go on where he sails for 6 days to get there, fishes for 6 days, and then sails 6 or 7 days.
I think you ought to go on a trip like that with him.
I don't think that's a good idea at all.
I think you would have a great time.
I would have fun with Eric. You're right. I would have a ball, but being on a boat for anything longer than 15 minutes, I lose my mind.
Really?
I don't like being
you're kind of a
water.
pacer, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
You ever watched him fly before?
Oh yeah, we've flown a couple.
Yeah, he gets nervous on planes.
Oh yeah.
But at least if you're in a boat, I mean, you're not gonna drop from 36,000 feet.
No,
you may drop to 36,000 feet.
No, you're gonna float until you starve to death.
Yeah,
that's surrounded by water with nothing to drink. I'm not into that at all.
Not into that, huh?
No. I don't like heights. I don't like water. Not real big on fire.
What do you like, Chris?
I got a short list of things.
Just wondering.
Short list of things. Fill in the blanks as needed.
Demolition Derby. 3 olives. That's about it.
There's a few others, but adult coloring books, slow walks at midnight.
You don't ever walk slow. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but you're not a slow walker ever.
I always assume that in my mind that something happened and the rest of the world's in slow motion. I just assumed that's what it was.
Oh goodness!
No.
So this is like our year-end show. I mean, really, you're gonna give off the awards Saturday night because I'm ditching you for a wedding, and but this is it. This is the year-end show.
I'm still not sure how we're gonna do that.
What do you what do you think of our 2016, Chris?
I keep saying this time and time again, but it's the busiest year that we had. I mean, we went to Utah twice. We went to Kansas twice. We went to Minnesota at least 2 times. Yeah, Ohio. We were in Ohio twice. We were in Pennsylvania a couple times. And
Virginia
twice. We did 3 nights in Virginia. We were all over New York. We brought a lot of first-time live streams to people, which was cool. And people got the opportunity to see a couple drivers drive live for the first time that they hadn't seen before. We went to Caledonia for the first time. We were live in Dunkirk for the first time. We went there. We were there for 3 nights there. And the second half of the year was by far the most challenging year that I've ever had. I fought through audio problems when we were editing DVDs. I fought through memory problems. I fought through lost footage problems and stuff. But I've never ever been through the trials that we were through this year in terms of struggles with connection, in terms of struggles with upload. We're still fighting. Now, at this point of the year, it's just a matter of time. We need to find the time to get in here and upload the 3 derbies that we have left to upload. And people are asking about it, and they want to see it. And a couple people have been nasty about it, and a couple people have been perfectly fine with it. At the end of the day, the promoters that I've talked to, they're fine with it. Mm-hmm. I've tried to upload San Filippo 4 times. and my home internet connection drops. It just quits. For whatever reason, that apparently isn't meant to. And once it breaks, there's no point in leaving it up there. Just can it, try again, and you got to set aside about 5 hours to do that.
You don't have to spare 5 hours?
You have to, 5 hours is tough to come by this time of year because of all the other stuff that's going on, family obligations, school, planning for New Year's, stuff like that, just to try and I've been gone every weekend all summer, so now all the family stuff starts taking over on the weekends, and it's a matter of time. We gotta find the time to make the time, and we'll get that stuff done. But I've never before grabbed a microphone and been shocked. And I got to do that this year. Check that off the list. We got to do a couple other things in Dunkirk that I'd never been able to do before, which was cool. Among them, we got to find out how fast a camera dries out. It takes roughly 3 days and 20 pounds of rice. That was fun.
How about on-track action? What sticks out in your mind this year from
that shot that shot that Colton Newhoffman put on Jason Dials stands out a lot. The Capital City Carnage finish stands out to me. I mean, Jason Dials continues to. Funny that includes Jason too, but the fact that he, just nose to nose and everything, just bending stuff like crazy, and it was holding together. Chad Barkley drove good at Capital City Carnage. We can't default that. I really thought Brent Clemens was going to win that one. It was fun to see Sean Gokenauer win again. He took a stockish Lincoln, down there on the first night at Shenandoah County. Got to see Andy Wolfanger and Kenny Swingle run for the first time, I think, in 2 years that we've been able to see them. And Kenny won Ontario County, and then Andy turned around and he won in Dunkirk with one axle against 3 Elmans out there on the track. So that was a good one. Bernard Huxley. We didn't see as many rollovers this year as we've seen in years past, but Bernard got one at San Filippo. Sent a guy in his lid, and that shot, amongst the other ones that we talked about, have put him in the hunt for hit of the year. Because, I mean, he hit him, and it was like a weeble wobble. He hit him, and that car just went right over. And if you think about it, they're compacts. So if you think about the amount of force you need to bring, because you don't have mass with you.
No.
To get a car to just snap of fingers, go over, it was pretty crazy. That was neat. And we had some guys that had some real bad luck. We had some guys that were sick. We had some people lose family members. We had some people that have just had awful. Brian Leonard, I think he had 3 trips to the emergency room this year because of derbies or something crazy like that.
Oh, yeah.
He was banged up a little bit. Todd Height, who was back in February, was poised to be driving in October, and he's ended up having however many surgeries subsequent to that. And I blank on his name. The guy that had up in Canada had
lost his family.
Awful house fire and lost half his family because of that. It's hard to overlook, some of the plights like that. So on track, it's been a good year. Off the track, it's been a tough one for everybody, and it's going to be a busy 2017. We're already in conversations with people that we never thought that we'd be going and doing derbies for. If it's not this year, then 2018, if you can believe that. So I mean, there's a lot still to come. There's a lot to finalize. There's a lot of conversations that have to happen here in the next 4 or 5 weeks before we can even begin to talk about what schedules that we're going to be at. But I know it's going to be a lot of fun. We get questions every day from drivers asking, what show are you going to do? Where are you going to be? And we don't have answers yet. We're literally like 5 weeks away from our season ending. And now we're about 7 weeks away from our season starting. Think about that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I think we ought to mention too, Jeremy Gully and Josh Decker put on the San Filippo Smash. Raised a very nice amount for research that was donated to San Filippo Smash. You got to get a shout out to them. Obviously, Jeremy is touched by the San Filippo with his son Martin. There's also, I believe, was a little girl that they helped to raise money for. So shout out to both those guys. Great thing they did for that whole community. It's been a crazy year. When we walked back into Topeka for Blizzard Bash, it was like we just were here, you know what I mean?
Right.
And not there for Capital City Card. It's like we were just here for Blizzard Bash.
Right.
It went by quick. I mean, we, spent another weekend out in Ohio, Memorial Day weekend, Bash for Cash. I mean, that was, great. always have a blast out there. A bunch of the guys, Jason and a bunch of the guys went out and ran Joker's Wire class.
Getting to work that heat was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. that was pretty cool. It's still weird though. I'm not used to being inside and looking off a screen though. It's something completely different for me. You know what I mean?
You get to do that this year, coming up.
Where?
2017.
Where?
Anytime we take the trailer out.
Whatever. Back to 16. It was definitely a great year. I got to do a little bit of driving, a little commentating back and forth. That was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Our first time without Chris, our first show without Chris Marquardt.
And you think I'm a pacer? Should have been there that day.
It definitely showed how valuable Chris is to the show. I mean, a lot of people told us we did a good job, but I think we did an okay job. But without Chris there was a lot of dead air. And
I think it's a fair assessment. We did an okay job.
We touched on it. The three of us all said it. That it's definitely there was definitely dead air, and there's never dead air when Chris is around. So, we definitely. But the gentleman from here came and produced for us. He did a nice job. Mm-hmm. Once they got the sound figured out, so the bleacher, the grandstand could hear what we were saying, got better. But it was great. We had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And Jake picked up his second straight win at Norwich, right?
Yeah, I had a good year. I'm going to change probably things up this year a little bit.
How about in terms of road rage?
I don't know. We'll see what that brings up. I just started that last summer, and I haven't had a show yet. As far as I haven't found anything that I'm really looking at yet. I don't want to water down by just keep adding shows either. So
Team Derby, Extreme Weld.
Maybe I don't know. Well, let's see.
Anything goes.
Let's see. No, it was a pretty good year. I had 3 feature wins last year, and that's kind of what I was kind of setting out last year was.
Because you won the team show,
Norwich and down in Middletown. Spinning Wheels production show down there.
I forgot the Middletown one.
But it was a good year. I got to do. I got rid of running the big cars there because it just wasn't fun anymore. And then I started running the compacts for fun. And then last year we kind of set out a goal. I said, let's win a couple shows this year, stock car stuff, And then next year we're going to go in a different route. So
well, you've been throwing money around like you're Josh Decker. It's been crazy.
No, it's we're going to go a different route this year. I don't think I don't know winning's in the cards, and I think we're going to go back to the old style of driving, but with a purpose. Maybe a little head hunting this year, and
rocking the most wanted fine art shirt.
No, there you go. Yeah.
Jason Sauer, you're bringing paint back to the area, huh?
I would like to see that. Actually, is the best paint come back. I know it was popular where I started running over in Delaware County, over in Walton. It was popular there, but it seemed to. They still do it there, but it seemed to fade away. Mm-hmm. A lot of the shows aren't running them anymore, and I think that's a component that what you got to pay for it as a promoter. You can't expect somebody to put $200 worth of paint. I mean, he was talking with him down there, and I mean it's like $10 a can or $12 a can for the stuff that he's painting, and
but it's good stuff.
Oh, it's great stuff, great paint. I mean, it was, and obviously his skill and stuff, but you can't throw him a $40 trophy and say, hey, give somebody something for that, make it worth their while, and let the kids paint. We were talking about before the turtle car. Everybody remembers in our area the turtle car, Jeremy Gully. Kids painted up. That ended up being a donation for Mr. Reed. But the kids had I'm sure had a great time painting the car up. Whatever it is, cartoon characters or whatever. I just like to see that bring that back. I think it's a little more family orientated. Plus, if you're going out there and doing the work for your sponsors, you have a nice car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you should get something for that. For that hard work of going out there and beating the bushes, and then putting out a good product for them.
Absolutely.
You could probably you go on We Crash,
mm-hmm.
and if you go to the New York page, there's a guy, Hatebreed NY. Talk to him and see if he would be willing to do one across the state, and it would just be given out. It would always be no matter where it is. You could do that.
I could
talk to. He's our state rep.
Yeah,
I don't know who he is.
I don't think anybody does anymore. I don't update the page too much anymore. That wasn't the traffic that there used to be on it. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah, a lot less.
So I found myself slacking there a little bit, but I'm looking forward to 2017. It's going to be different, and that's what I just wanted to do something different. I want to keep changing it up. put together. I'm really looking at the 03 Newers, and then instead of quantity, I think we put out about 25 cars this year.
Yeah.
All stock stuff, nothing really built. Most of them
Stock's a misleading term.
Well, when I'm talking, I'm
You're
talking really stock.
Mm-hmm.
We had, I think, 7 car. I don't remember now. Like at the San Filippo Smash,
Right.
all put in all brand new drivers for their first time.
That's awesome.
All got on there and ran, and it was I like that. Now I got a few people that ran that. One's school teacher. It was, you would never even picture in a derby car. And I mean, had a great time. She ended up getting the Mad Dog. It's got a put right up front on her desk, and it's a pretty cool thing. They're talking to me. Oh, when am I going to do it again?
Right.
And these are people that never really even watched the derby, or maybe only been to a few, and now they're excited about running again. And what it costs is a junk car you throw together in 6-7 hours, and they had a blast.
6-7 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I still can't believe that. 6-7 hours, yeah, it's done.
Well, that was the that's what we went to last year. I mean, I got a lift that I can use, and not one car went on the lift last year. Everything was built old school. Everything was built in the driveway.
Ron McClung, it's that 6-7 hour window. He talks about that too.
It's just something that I said that's what I wanted to do, and that's what we did. And next year's going to be, like I said, it'll be a little bit different. We're going to do a little bit next year, and I got a couple doubters, and we'll take care of that.
Yeah, we gotta touch on Ron McClung. He might have logged the most Derby miles last year. I mean,
Insane.
he was all over. I mean, Rick Clark did a lot of traveling too, but
Yeah.
I think Ron might have
I think so.
had more miles because he was all over. I mean, he really logged a lot of. Well, it started with kilometers, then he came across the border and went to miles. So I guess we'd have to do the math, but he put on a lot of miles. So he. Shout out to him and Rick too. Obviously, Rick had a great year. Rick did a lot of traveling also, but
he won down in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Caught Klinger against the wall and finished his night down there. So he won that the Marquis class.
Picked up a win in Ohio.
Stoneboro. And then he won. Where did he win Ohio?
Shoot.
All I can think of is Trumbull County. I don't think that was it.
It was the same night as Caledonia, or the day after Caledonia, something like that.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't.
He also had
I'm
the
blanking, sorry.
Spring King's Old School show, and then the
Fall King's Old School.
Fall show for the championship portion of that.
Yeah, he had a real good year.
Yeah, good year.
He was on his way to a real good finish at Blizzard Bash, and I believe, not Blizzard Bash, Bash for Cash, and believe ended up getting stuck, hung up, because the track had gotten wet and was kind of going away. But he won his heat. He had a lot of car left after the heat, so he was definitely going to be right there at the end there.
Heck of a builder.
Heck of a builder, heck of a driver.
You'll see Ron. You'll see Ron this weekend.
When you look at Rick's stuff, I mean, you look at it, it's all quality. You know?
Yeah.
But that's what we talk about Ron. I mean, he shows up almost every show that I've seen him run with probably the most stock appearing car anyway. We'll just leave it at that. I don't, but the stock appearing car, and you look at it, it's like
car there.
and it just seems like he always wheels it, and it just doesn't quit. He's always wheeling it around, a couple flats or whatever, and he's almost always there in the end, and it's incredible watching that style of driving.
I think we saw him more this year than any other driver.
Yeah, probably.
I gotta believe that we
Probably,
saw him more than anybody.
He put on a
else.
heck of a show in Caledonia. I got Mad Dog in the first heat. He got Mad Dog in the. No, I got Mad Dog in the second heat. He got Mad Dog in the third heat. So we were in the feature together.
And he went out. He said, "Well, if that's the guy that's going to win, I'm going to have to hit him first." And he went right after Klinger. And Klinger proceeded to turn the tables on him. But we've seen Ron do that every time.
Yeah, he's Ron, and that's the thing is Ron. That's what Ron says. I'm here to put on a show. I don't care about winning. I'm going to smash a car, and he does. He does it well. So it's cool. He
said in his career he's only got 6-7 trophies ever. I mean, if you can believe it, like. Dude that drives like that, you assume that he would pile up Bad Dog was like crazy.
Yeah, you would think.
He's going to be busy. I mean, he's starting off the year running just like he did last year.
Mm-hmm. Stacking up the Fords.
Why not?
Stacking up the Fords.
Stock Ford's been funny. Somebody's got to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what do you think? Any other things we need to note, Bob?
Congratulations to Chris Marquardt on selling out his New Year's Eve party. Second year in existence, and it is sold out. Pretty impressive accomplishment.
So the only way to get in now is to find somebody on Tinder and or some kind of dating site, right? To work your way in.
What are you talking about? What? I'm not up to speed on what social media stuff you're into. No, the only way to get in right now is to
buy a ticket for 2018.
Beg, borrow, and steal a ticket. That's it.
Yeah.
It's at capacity. Next year, Brian and I have already talked about it. I think we need to get through this year and figure out what we're going to do for next year. But at this point, I don't know if we need to expand it. We got Creekside Entertainment's going to be there for DJ. We got to make sure that everything's going to work and fit in the room. We can add a couple seats next year if we have to. We can add another room if we have to.
Or we can keep it the way it is.
We can keep
Make it intimate.
Just the way that it is. I mean,
I like it. I had a great time last year. I think I like it the way it is.
Jeremy, listen, are you ready for this? Get this. Tell me this. Start adding up all these pieces and tell me it doesn't equal bad decisions. Jeremy Gully, Dylan Lane, and all their posse. Zach Olson and his posse. Brandon Tyson, Chad Blanche, and their posse.
Did you hear who might be coming out with Dylan Lane?
Are all going to be here Friday night.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't mention that.
You
didn't mention that.
Be here Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
No, what
Kenny Rosno may be riding out with Dylan Lane.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, he's been weighing it back and forth as to whether or not he's coming or not.
They need to.
He may just be showing up and drinking out of the bar. I don't know,
Which is fine. Whatever.
But yeah,
we'll find a way to make it work. But Dylan Lane?
Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm picking him up at the airport.
Maybe, I don't know.
So
I thought that's what he said.
Whatever.
Maybe, I don't know.
Whatever. Friday's going to be a very busy day.
What time you got to be at Syracuse?
I got to be in Syracuse at 9, and I got to be in Rochester at 11.
Really? Who's coming in Rochester?
Zach.
Is that possible from up here?
No.
Is it possible?
Yeah, that seems like it's a little bit
But
farther of a
did
drive
you
than
die? That's the question to ask.
So are you going to go straight from Syracuse to Rochester?
Yeah,
And then
I've made that run before. I made it to Ransomville in 2.5 hours from Gators headquarters in Liverpool.
That's impressive. If you need a hand, I don't know if I have anything going on Friday night. I might be able to pick somebody up.
It's Friday during the day. It's getting everybody around during the day, juggling everything during the day.
I thought they're coming at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m.
I gotta check. I thought it was morning flights. They were getting out early and getting in early.
I'll get with you after the show. I took the whole week off this week.
Yeah, you coming up Friday? If you need a Friday room, let me know. I'll get the room set.
We'll talk about that. But
who's keeping
for me to
Binghamton
come up
safe
here,
if you're up here?
If I drive up through Syracuse and cut over, it's really not that much farther out of the way from me.
All right.
So
Mike DeFries's gonna. I don't think he's coming early though.
yeah.
Who's keeping you be safe if you're not there?
What's that?
Who's keeping University of Binghamton safe if you're not there?
Hey man, it ain't my problem. I'm not there. A little sour there right now, so we'll just leave it at that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
No, it'll be a good time. I've been looking forward to it. My wife has been looking forward to it. She was getting a little nervous because I was kind of busting her balls a little bit about getting the tickets. So she went ahead and just ordered the tickets. And now it sounds
Robin
like
wasn't the only one getting nervous either.
Yeah. Now looks like that. She was talking about bringing in one of her friends. So I might get busted out. I might be sleeping in the truck.
I made your room reservation today with 2 queen beds.
Oh.
Just to make sure that you had someplace to sleep.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. Either that, the bathtub's open too.
Oh, there you go.
If not, you can share Chris's room.
It's not true.
Or
it's
like I said,
true.
Chris has got the honeymoon
hit me
suite.
hit me or Eric up on Tinder if you got. I think he's looking for a date too, and
What the heck, man?
Nah, just busting there.
Chris, what do you think?
I think we've covered it all.
One more.
Ryan Ostrander. That was the guy we forgot. Ryan Ostrander's going to be there with a bunch of stuff. Mike Osterhout's picking up some new parts from Ryan at the New Year's Eve party. So that'll be pretty cool. We'll have a chance to finally meet Ryan, see what he's all about. But good talk tonight with some rear end discussion. I'm sure this is going to lead to more rear end discussion as we get further along because we want to see them for sure. We want God to see what those things look like, and then follow up with more and start comparing, contrasting to the goods, the bads, and the uglies of what rear ends are out there. But yeah, so Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. We'll be coming to you live for a short period of time Saturday night as we give out the awards at the now annual New Year's Eve party. Because you can't have a first annual because it's not annual yet.
Now it's annual.
Now it's the now.
I just want to congratulate Josh Decker on being the 2016 Driver of the Year. It's great accomplishment. I wish I could be there to shake your hand and
You
get
phrased
it,
it
bud.
wrong. You screwed up the name of the award. He was voted sexiest driver in Derby.
Oh, I thought it was Driver of the Year.
No, you're wrong.
My bad.
I bet she hates us now. Took care of that.
Wow, my wife's going to have to bedazzle up some nice pants for him or something.
The question is
Remember that last year?
there was a picture on Facebook the other day. Yep. Someone put it up. I saw it. The question is do I walk right in and just give Josh a bear hug in front of the entire party when I get there Saturday night?
Just don't slap him. Just don't walk in and slap him.
Now listen.
Don't walk in and tickle him.
Listen,
just
seriously, between you and I, just between us,
just between us,
just between us.
Is here.
Nobody
just
else.
Talk to me.
I didn't really slap him that hard, did I?
I saw saliva and gum fly. Like,
I didn't.
You know,
I didn't think I
It's a
did.
bad person to ask because I remember getting headbutted last year at the New Year's party.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember doing that? Yeah. I remember that.
It was a bad day.
Yeah, it was good.
Wow. I must have left before the fun stuff happened.
We joke about Bald Bull and everything, but when you hit Bald Bull, you know how he kind of spits a little bit. It looked just like that.
I didn't think I did it that hard though.
I couldn't believe that his eye wasn't black.
It wasn't that hard.
You came downhill with it. You know what I mean?
Stop.
Like, it's one thing to just like slap somebody, but you came down with it, just down on him because you're taller than he is.
Kind of like Donkey Kong, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel bad.
It was like Brian Smash and just
Poor
short of
Josh.
throwing barrels at him down the ladder. and worse off, he's Italian.
Poor Josh.
Oh, yeah, Luigi. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
like Luigi. Well.
Mario.
Alrighty.
Okay, so if he didn't hate us, now he definitely does. That's going to do it for us. We're going to be live Saturday night from the Chancellor Ballroom at the Holiday Inn in Waterloo. We'll hand out some hardware, and then we're going to cut it and enjoy an evening. So if anybody has any questions on it, feel free to message me. But at this point, it is sold out. Appreciate the support on that. Looking forward to seeing everybody. Hope everybody had a great Christmas and holiday weekend. We'll do it again. What are we doing? We going to do it again next Monday? What do you want to do?
Yes, we'll do it again next month.
You want to do it again next? Okay, we'll do it again next Monday. 162 coming up next Monday. We'll see everybody then. Thanks for joining us. That's going to do it for this edition of the Crash Course Podcast from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. See everybody then.
The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com. The 2015 Wadena Grand Slam, Full Lockwood Motorsports, and the 2015 Keystone National. Scioppa Racing and ScioppaRacing.com. Ultimate Derby and Blizzard Bash 2015. Demo Derby Masters. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.